How's it going, guys? I'm here on the Quantock Hills AONB, area of outstanding natural beauty, and it really is outstanding today. The sun is shining. There is definitely a breeze, which is why I'm standing in this sheltered area just to have a chat with you guys. But I'm so stoked to be here. I've just finished a meeting. I mean, look at me, I'm in jeans here, casual wear. But I was driving past and I could not resist coming up here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to run around one of my all-time favourite routes here. It's about 8 miles, and what it really highlights is the diversity of different landscapes here on the Quantock Hills. This is not a big area, but today we're going to be able to see the real different landscapes. We've got the open moorland to begin with. We're going to first of all climb up Black Hill, which sits at 358 metres above sea level, and then we're going to run on round, drop down Shepherd's Combe. Beautiful, beautiful combe. We've got the river running alongside. May even catch some glimpses of red deer because we see them quite often there. And then we'll check out Holford, Holford Combe, Holford Green, and then we'll come back up through the ancient woodland back up to here. Now I'm parked at Crowcombe Park Gate. Car park's just down there. And you know what? I think without any further ado, let's get started.
The Quantocks were the first area of outstanding natural beauty to be designated in the UK in 1956.
Here we are on the top of Black Hill. We've got dramatic views there over the Bristol Channel. You can see right the way over to Wales. And there's Hinkley Point down there, the nuclear power station. We have this mound here, and this is a tumuli. Now you see these marked on the map all over the Quantock Hills, and basically they are evidence of archaeological people, so people from the past, whether it's the Neolithic period, the Mesolithic, the Bronze Age, just not in that order. It's just super wonderful to see how this landscape has been used for thousands and thousands of years, and it's still treasured now. Although mostly for recreational uses, this land is still farmed, it is still worked, it's used for grouse shooting and a whole host of other activities, even though it's such a small area now. But you know, it's really thriving with activity, not just of people, but also wildlife. There's a huge abundance of wildlife here on the Quantock Hills, and I'm really hoping we can see some today. Here we go. So we were talking about archaeology. What we've got here is a billboard talking about Hartley Beacon, which is this kind of outcrop of land here. And basically the sign just really highlights how much this landscape was used. I mean, it's saying there were over 100 Bronze Age monuments on the Quantock Hills. You know, these are marking the burial of people 4,000 years ago. And Hartley Beacon, for example, was a place where obviously someone who is very of high esteem was buried, because you could see the burial mound from far away. It's a really quite an obvious area, but also the fact that it's a beacon is a key area to highlight danger and communicate with nearby tribes and people in the area. They would light a fire and warn of the danger. But this is actually quite a cool billboard, because it also just talks about ways to help conserve the hills that you're out exploring and that you learn to love. So it's really great to see this up here on the Quantock Hills. Oh dear, this means the walk is going to take a very long time. The bilberries are officially ripe up here, which is actually very early, probably about a month early really. But you can see basically these are, I lost one! These are wild forms of blueberries, and they are delicious, and they grow on plants just like this here. And you can see, here we go, we've got a couple on the bushes there. They're tiny, some of them are quite big. You've just got to be really careful. For example, you've got a fern here, and ferns notoriously not ideal really to eat. But look at them, they're just everywhere, growing in amongst the heather. This is, what is this, ling heather? It's just lovely to be able to find these on the trail and do this. Yes, winning.
This first stretch of the walk took me past Hallsway Post, which marked the eastern corner of Hallsway Hill. From there, I followed the ridge onto Bicknoller Post, with far-reaching views on each side across the surrounding Somerset countryside.
You know, it's quite amazing because up here on the Quantocks there isn't any kind of major river as there is on Exmoor or Dartmoor. And yet if you look behind me, you can see how lush and green the combes actually look. So there are various streams and things that kind of work their way down each of the combes, and just this time of the year, in the height of summer, everything just looks so full and vibrant, and I just find myself so excited when I'm up here. I just want to identify all the different grasses, all the bushes, all the berries, all the flowers, all of the trees, listening to the birds. It's so stimulating in every possible way. You know, if you're looking to practice mindfulness, coming up to somewhere like this or your local wild patch is totally what you need to be doing. And on a day like today, the views aren't half bad either. We found the Quantock ponies. I can't really be quiet and talking to you because it is so windy, but they're just over here and they're gorgeous. It's always such a treat to stumble upon them here. There's not many, but you know, they're so designed to be up on this landscape, coping with all of the changing elements and seasons. Yes. Okay, I'm pretty sure, and I'm really gutted I don't have my binoculars or even a long lens on me today, but I can see red deer right on the horizon. So what we've got here is just kind of the top of Shepherd's Combe and Lady's Edge, which is the combe we're going to descend in a minute when we get to Bicknoller Post. And you can just see the red deer grazing on the horizon there. Oh, I'm so gutted. I'm sorry I can't show you them closer, but you can see the sort of area that they're in anyway, just grazing away in the sunshine. No fear here of any predators because there just aren't any. Okie dokie, so we're just approaching Bicknoller Post. It's literally just like a piece of wood in the ground, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn to the right and we're going to begin our descent down Shepherd's Combe. So what we're going to see is suddenly we'll be in the shade, surrounded by songbirds and wonderful ancient woodland. I cannot tell you how magical this stretch of the walk feels when you're actually here on your own in this landscape. This will be the last of the heather we see for a little bit because we're leaving the ridge now. You can see it's all kind of coming out this time of year. Oh wow, look at that butterfly. Oh, sorry. Gosh, you come straight out of the wind and it is very warm. My word, I cannot even begin to describe to you how peaceful this combe is to walk down. I have not seen a soul today, and we just got the stream bubbling alongside to my right, and we're just entering into this ancient sessile oak woodland, and it's quite distinctive. Hold that thought, there's a frog. Look at him. What are you doing? I don't know if you can see him leaping away. God, he's got speed. Okay, goodbye, I'll let you go. I was talking about trees, you know, you stole the limelight. Okay, trees. These trees are really quite distinctive in that they're quite thin trunked, but they're so gnarly how the branches kind of come out and umbrella over the landscape. You can really see how spindly everything looks, and obviously this is our traditional English oak. Clearly this is being eaten by something, but very distinctive. And what we'll expect to see here then is also a mixture of silver birch, possibly some ash and rowan, maybe sort of intertwined with this sessile oak woodland. But also what it means is the floor is going to be carpeted with bilberry bushes. Now we've seen some of those earlier and the wonderful fruits that they produce, but because the light can penetrate, we also get these like wispy grasses here which just kind of cover the floor, and it's not dead. There's so much life. What you often find, for example, in pine forests, particularly kind of plantations here in the southwest, is that there's no light that can get through. These trees are really, really tall, they're really straight, they grow very quickly, and they're competing for that light, and that canopy is high up there, and it just means that none of the light can get through, so the floor is just dead, and therefore it cannot sustain any of our native wildlife, whether it's flora or fauna. So this place is just thriving with life, and I'm certainly going to drop my volume as I walk through just to see what we can see, whether there are more deer or ponies, and we get sheep grazing around here as well. But you know, I'm hoping for some birds. We might hear a cuckoo or two, which is quite late in the season, but it's possible. And you know, I'm just going to really soak up the beauty that's around me. I really think it's really important when we come out to these natural landscapes to actually let them refresh us, revive us, and restore us back to who we are. If we're not leaving fulfilled from these places, you know, we don't have to do big mileages or climb epic mountains, but we need to be vigilant to the wonder that's around us, and if we are, then we'll learn to treasure it, and if we treasure it, then we'll want to protect it for people who will come in the future. So anyway, let's just keep making our way down through Shepherd's Combe, and pretty soon we're going to work our way to Holford Combe. Quite a few little fords along this stretch, which just adds to the fun. Try not to get wet feet. Oi. Here we are then, just approaching Holford and Holford Green. Holford's just one of many picturesque villages here in the Quantock Hills. They're just very, very quaint places, often only lived in by a few hundred people, and they're just wonderful to walk through, if I'm honest. But what we've got here on the left is Holford Green, which makes a great picnic spot. The only thing is, I don't have a picnic, so today I will continue on by. But it really is a lovely area, it really catches the sun. It is 4 o'clock.
Holford is home to just under 400 people and sits on the Quantock Greenway and Coleridge Way footpaths. In the village sits Alfrexton House, which was home to William Wordsworth and his sister Dorothy during the time of their friendship with Coleridge.
Wow, if you could smell these roses. Goodness me. Oh. Gosh, that is to die for. That's beautiful, really beautiful. Look at them, there's loads. What I love about walking through places like this is people obviously take such pride in their homes, and they make sure they're well kept and their gardens are just lovely to look at for anybody passing by. It's kind of like they just want to share their joy at living where they live, and I just love that. It's very contagious. Can you see the animals on the hedges? There's like a dog and a chicken, and what's this? A squirrel. Oh, that's brilliant.
Combe House Hotel is a great place to stop to break the walk up. They offer coffee, cream teas, sandwiches, and a lovely garden to sit in.
Here we are then, just entering the bottom of Holford Combe. This patch is just such a sunspot. It is lovely, lovely, lovely at the weekends. Most people are here just sort of paddling. You know, this was one of the walks I grew up doing time and time again, and this patch here just holds so many special memories. Just chilling out in the sun, playing in the little river thing is lovely. Again, you know, we're just winding our way through this beautiful Cecil oak beech ash woodland, and it's so peaceful. It's just the most blissful place. I'm kind of keeping my eye open to see if the bilberry plants have any fruits on them, but it appears at the moment they don't. Certainly not near the path edge anyway. Oh, there's a few up there, which is quite cool. But you can see how they just carpet the forest floor here. And all the wildlife is like, whoop, food. So, kind of like that. Yeah, that's what birds are actually doing when you hear them singing. They're like, whoop, food. Oh man, I'm losing the plot.
Walking through Holford Coombe is always a pleasurable experience. You feel transported back to a time when forests were wild and untamed places that can be explored and enjoyed. They're sensory places, and I often find myself staring at wonder at the rays of light bursting through the canopy, listening to the joyful songs of birds, or getting swept away by the continuous flow of the river. Forests are the place where I really feel alive.
Okay, so we are beginning the little ascent out of Holford Coombe. Nice way to get the heart rate up and also get good views kind of looking down into the Coombe and surrounding forest. We'll just enjoy this, take it steady and get to the top when we get to the top. I really can't get over how green everything is. I guess because the last time I was here it was the middle of winter, it was raining, like really raining, and just grey. But now, oh my word, 50 shades of green. This is a road. I am stood on the road. The road would take us all the way back up to the top of the ridge, and actually we're going to follow the road. I made that sound like we're not, but we are going to. So this path here is directly opposite this path here. This path here is the one that I came out of to emerge onto the road, and this one here is a lovely extension to this walk which takes us to Ramscombe and Greatwood. Now Greatwood is owned by the Forestry Commission. It's a really lovely area, especially in the weekends. It's really popular with families. There's kind of like picnic areas, there's barbecue spots, there's toilets, gotta love them. But we're not going to go that way today just because we are going this way. So we're working our way up to the top of the ridge. As I said, at the top of the ridge is a car park. The car park has the wonderful name Dead Woman's Ditch. I'll let you make up your own stories as to why it's called that. But also in this area, if I wanted to extend the walk further that way, or maybe that way, but I think it's that way, there is the remains of a sort of hill fort mound that you can kind of walk around, but it is covered in forestry like this, so it's quite difficult to see, but on the map it's actually quite distinctive. It's just a shame I can't remember which direction it is. Actually, I think it's that way, along this path, which has just emerged. Okay, so approaching some form of civilization. The forest is beside me, the road is ahead of me, and we're just approaching Dead Woman's Ditch car park. I can see the ditch, thankfully, no dead people.
Dead Woman's Ditch is occasionally associated with the murder of Sarah Wayford by her husband John in 1789, but the name appears on maps that were developed earlier than this date.
I've officially left the road behind and we're now on this track, so this track just came off to the right of the road. Probably about a mile left to the car, and we're coming in at a slightly different angle because I wanted to take a little detour across to Wilmot's Pool, which is, believe it or not, a little pool of water. I have a thing for pools of water. And also next to it is another tumuli. We talked about those already today. Archaeological features in the landscape. So it's kind of quite a nice way to finish the walk. So that is where we're headed. I found the rest of the ponies. They're all up here, hanging out. I love how they're just all different colours. No single one is the same as another. There's something really wonderful about stumbling upon herds of horses like this. And I know they're not wild, but it just transports you back and kind of connects you even deeper with the land. I think he wants my cereal bar.
Now this might look funny, but there's actually a major problem with Quantock ponies having developed an addiction to sugar, fed to them by not so wise walkers. I wasn't about to feed this habit, and definitely not sacrifice my oat bar.
Wow, so I'm at Wilmot's pool and it's pretty much dried up. I think it goes to show just how warm it's been these last few weeks. And then here is a tumuli, quite a distinct mound in the landscape, marking a burial, potentially, probably. Yes, a burial. Anyway, don't get disorientated, now it's time to find the car. As is typical for the last couple of 100 meters, when I can see the car, I have slowed my pace and I am reflecting on today's journey. It has been a wonderful little walk. I feel really refreshed, if I'm honest, actually. I love seeing the ponies, getting the bilberries, just love the space, the freedom, the greenery, the heather. What's not to love? But you know, for me, the Quantock Hills is such a wonderful reminder that we need to treasure our smaller wild spaces as much as our bigger wild spaces. You know, national parks, AONBs, triple SIs, nature reserves, whatever they are important, and we need to hold them close, and the only way we're going to hold them close in order to protect them is by loving them, is by getting out and exploring them throughout the seasons, is journeying with the landscape, becoming a part of the landscape. That's what we have lost in our modern day gadgeted microwave society where everything is instant. You know, walking is not an instant thing. It takes time. You have to embrace the distance, embrace the journey, and stay vigilant to what you can see. And the Quantocks for me just brings up all of these thoughts and emotions every single time. How much I treasure the small wild spaces just as much as the vast national parks that we have as well. So guys, I really want to finish by encouraging you to get out, check out your wilder areas that are around you and your home, learn to love them, learn to be at one with those beautiful, beautiful spaces, and just enjoy them for what they are. It's such a privilege that we can come out here and be free and safe in these environments. So enjoy them, and until next time, stay wild.